This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm pleased to have KK Downing and Glen Tipton of Judas Priest on the show. We are in beautiful Newport Beach, California today. This is a beautiful hotel. What do you guys think of Newport Beach?
We haven't seen much of it. We just came from San Diego not too long ago, but looking out of the windows from the 8th floor, it looks fantastic. You can see the ocean, palm trees and stuff. Kind of place you'd definitely like to, maybe one day retire.
I drove up along the coast today through Laguna Beach and up on the Ocean Boulevard. Boulevard, is it? Or Ocean Road or whatever.
You can call it whatever you want.
It's great,
Pacific Coast Highway, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. There's some great restaurants and lovely beaches, and it looks great.
One of the things that you guys are releasing is A Touch of Evil live. Now, tell me what made you feel that this was the time to unleash this on the public?
I guess we've done a lot of touring in the last 5 years or so with the Angel of Retribution, and we were on the Masters of Metal tour last year. And so this is kind of a benchmark really in the band's career again, and we just thought it would be a good thing for people that couldn't make it to any of those shows around the world, and a great memento for people that did actually make some of those shows.
We just physically went through and picked tracks that have never been released live before, and it's really turned out a very powerful album.
For the first time in 31 years, you worked with Tom Ullum on this album.
We parted company only because Tom got into other things, and we started to get more involved in the production side of things at some point. But we've always had the greatest respect for Tom. He's a really lovely guy, generous guy, and a great producer, and he's worked with us for years, and we just thought it was appropriate to bring Tom back. But we have actually used him for other live mixes quite recently.
How important was it for Judas Priest to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the British Steel album by performing it in its entirety live?
More important than we knew, actually, to be honest, because it was a suggestion that we came up with, and it's just been received. It's just stupendous, really. To hear the audience sing along with all these tracks, these Priest classics every night, it's better than we could have hoped for. It's a tribute to our fans anyway. It's the 30th anniversary of British Steel next year, and it's our way of saying thank you is to come out and perform it for them, with us. We feed off the audience, they feed off us. It's just one and the same thing.
KK, what kind of memories does it jar for you to go out and play these songs?
First of all, I've got to say it's just incredible to be here, 30 years on and still being able to do it, and to see the audience out there, and know for a fact that the people were there the first time around. I mean, that's just the incredible thing. And now obviously they're bringing their children, nieces, nephews, whatever. So it's fantastic to see the new fans, young fans as well. And but the nostalgia in the air when the lights go down, you can sense it. That people, they want to regress just that little bit and take that walk down memory lane, and we certainly give them that, because it is pretty much very close to a replica of everything that Priest did really in those early years.
Were songs such as Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight reflective of maybe your lifestyles at the time?
Living after midnight, probably, yeah. I mean, we've always lived after midnight. That's life on the road, really. Breaking the Law, it's got rebel quality to that song. We're not instigating, go out and break the law. It's just something you shout out. It's got a vibe going for it, a bit of rebellion in there, and it's a song that really was designed for everybody to just sing along with. We're not encouraging people to go out and rob the corner store or anything like that. It's just a tongue-in-cheek. It's got that edge to it and that rebellious feel which we noted for, and it, as you know, when you go to the concerts, everybody loves to sing along with it.
Are you gentlemen spiritual people?
Very much so. No. It depends what you mean by spiritual. We like to drink spirits, but
speaking for myself, you get into something so engrossed in this music thing when you're a teenager, and it just takes over your life, and you don't really look to anything else for comfort or reward, or I don't think. I mean, it's difficult to put it into words. But it is a great thing to be a part of this music group that's traversed the world for so many years, and have the experience of seeing how everybody reacts exactly the same. Everybody is united, and through music, and I think it's it's great therapy for the whole world, really.
Do you have a higher power?
If you talk about good and evil, I believe in good and evil. I believe you should live your life. I really do, doing good things for people, you know. And I think that, you know, that there's a certain payback in life if you know, and the older you get, I suppose the more, you know, you start to look at areas like this. But I can't say I'm really a spiritual person, but, you know, I do actually believe in good and evil, and I believe you should live a good life, you know.
Definitely, you know, music is a good way, you know, if you can be involved with it, you know, pick up an instrument and get playing and get out there, and it definitely is it's very fulfilling, you know, experience.
I think you know, music does a lot of good, and I think that that's something we feel good about ourselves, because through our career, so many people say our music has helped them through difficult points in life. I'm a firm believer that everybody's got their own beliefs, you know, in God or whatever, and if, you know, it's a free world, and everybody should be able to believe in whatever they want to. But as Ken says, I think that, you know, music does a lot of good, and it's helped people through difficult points in their life or their childhood or their adolescence.
You recorded British Steel at Tittenhurst Park in England, and that was a mansion owned by former Beatle Ringo Starr, and before that, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Now, do you feel a little of that Beatles magic rubbed off on you guys when you were recording British Steel? And have you ever met one of the Beatles?
I don't know whether you can say that rubbed off on us in a sense, but there was a great vibe about that house. We mixed Unleashed in the East there, and we just fell in love with the place, and we wanted to go back and work there, and we went back. And a lot of it was spontaneous, that album. We wrote a lot of that album in that house. It was very comfortable, everything fell together. So there was a great vibe there. You know, I know I've never met one of the Beatles.
Like Glenn says, it was a complete vibe. I mean, the feel-good factor about it was, I mean, you're actually there recording, you know, in this establishment owned by these extremely successful people, you know, that have made lots and lots of money, you know, and one of the biggest groups ever in the world, most successful groups, and you feel that, you know, because you're actually there, you must be doing something right, you know. So I think that gives you a little bit. I think it gave us a little bit of confidence, you know, because that album did magically come together very easily for us, and very quickly, and it was very spontaneous, and it was very fresh. And I think that's why today, when you put the record on, it sounds fresh, because it's almost kind of got a live kind of feel to it, you know, the way it was recorded. And I think that's what people like so much about it.
The Beatles are still one of my favourite all-time groups, and they came up with such great music in a relatively short space of time. And Ken mentioned yesterday, we did an interview yesterday, we were actually in the room where John Lennon recorded Imagine, and while we were there, it actually came on the TV, John playing the piano in the room that we were sitting in, and we were sitting, and it was just quite strange, really. That was very symbolic, I suppose, in a sense.
And if there's anything, you know, spiritual going on, that was one of the weirdest moments in my life ever, you know, because the song Imagine was re-released, obviously, after what happened to John, and to sit there in that room and on the television where Yoko is walking around opening the shutters and that. That was kind of weird, but it wasn't, you know, a daunting type of feeling. It was like it was a good feeling.
You are going to be filming one of your concerts, I believe it's in South Florida, for your expanded edition of the 30th anniversary re-release of British Steel.
The whole thing's just going to be full of everything that we're doing, you know. I mean, obviously we've got a great laser show. We've brought lasers back. I mean, it's things that have been dropped by many bands, you know, but and that's have such a great effect. And obviously you can do so much more with them these days. And obviously Harley Davidson is back on board, built us a great Harley Davidson bike, you know, so there's loads of stuff.
Outtakes from British Steel or anything like that on the expanded edition?
We don't really know yet. I mean, we film the show. Obviously, the show consists of us performing British Steel from start to finish, as you know, in its entirety, and we supplement it with songs like Victim of Changes, The Ripper, Hell Patrol. So, you know, we'll capture the whole show first, and then whatever else is released with it, we'll follow later when we sit down around the table and decide. We're going to launch it next year in conjunction with the 30th anniversary.
What did you guys think about the passing of Michael Jackson?
It's just a real tragedy that everyone didn't just get to see him at least one more time. You know, those shows that were booked in the UK. That's all you can say, really.
I thought it was tragic, and as I said before, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from that should be learned.
KK.
Thank you very much.
Glen Tipton. Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with KK Downing and Glen Tipton of Judas Priest. Signing off.
The Blairing Out Show.